Can you hear us?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So did we ever think that we'd be here 25 years later?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been in the diary for 25 years. It was a contractual obligation that John Nathan Turner made us sign, actually. So we have been aware. No, we haven't, and it's absolutely joyous because we haven't seen each other. I haven't seen either of these two people since we left the tent at Elstree or whatever it was, and it's absolutely joyous because it was one of the best gigs that I ever had doing Doctor Who. So it's fabulous to see everybody and be here. Thank you.
To be honest, we never would have dreamed we'd be here 25 years later, because the main thing about Doctor Who in those days was we were just trying to get it done. We were always under the gun. Everything was done at the last minute without enough money, without enough time. It was just a desperate dash to get through the episode, to get through the story, to get to the end of the season. Then we'd collapse, and then we'd start doing it again. We never looked ahead, even as far as the next season, let alone 25 years. But it is nice to be here.
In fact, I'm just going to stay with you initially, Andrew, because obviously the genesis of the story would have started with yourself, with JNT, and with the writer, Stephen Wyatt. So where did it start with you?
Well, the thing was, we got Stephen on for Paradise Towers, and he'd done a really good job, and John was very happy with him. So when we were looking at the next season, the first thing he said was, let's have Stephen again, because it was somebody we could both agree about. And John said, I've got this great story for you. I've got a great title. He said, the greatest show in the galaxy. My heart just sank. I thought, what a terrible canned story title. But you see, I thought, well, but it's a title, we can work with it. And also it gave us a starting point. It instantly said that we were going to have a kind of, a show or a fairground or a circus setting. And the great thing about those is that they can be really undermined and really scary and creepy. So when I went over it with Stephen, we thought, great, we can do something with this title.
And I suppose, Sophie, you being one of the regulars, you were sort of been next on board. What do you remember about sort of the script coming through the door and your reaction?
I think my main memory was, as Andrew was just saying, that it was always such a scramble to get these things done. And so really I was just like reading the script quickly. Oh yeah, okay, clowns, Ace is scared, alright, let's do it. And then go into the read through. And this one in particular was a scramble because it nearly never got made, which we never realised. I mean, JNT was fantastic at being the producer and keeping that sort of stuff away from us. That was his job. That was his job, to protect us and to ensure that he had this group of people who were all going to produce the goods.
I was say, because when I said no, I'm not surprised to be here, I actually meant that, because in a way the whole show was so full of surprises and unexpected circumstances. And John put together a very eclectic mix of people you wouldn't automatically think to put together. And they tended to be people he personally liked and he enjoyed drinking with and having fun with. And so the fact that we're here now, especially given the nature of this show, I don't think it is that much of a surprise. Nothing that surprises me anymore. So I just wanted to justify my no.
But that leads into what I was going to ask.
I know.
Chris, about, your experience then of the casting. Chris, with the microphone now, you, if I recall rightly, actually screen tested the previous year for Stills' role.
Well,
you
apparently
you
so.
could have been standing in the place he was standing.
Yeah, I teach in a university now, and I got an email link from my head of school the other day. Said, I've just found this about you, that apparently you were up for Doctor Who. And I went, well, fucking hell, that's the first I've heard. What the fuck? And there was a website, there was a BBC website that had a list of everybody who'd screen tested for Doctor Who, and I was on it. And I remember going to see JNT, but I don't remember being told that I was going up to be Doctor Who. I mean, I could have been pissed, I suppose, but it had been known. But apparently I did, and in fact, David Fielder, who I had worked with in another show, and also was one of those people who had been up for Doctor Who at the same time when Sylvester got it. Yeah, so I think I was in it as a sort of sop. You know, well, you didn't get Doctor Who, but you get 4 episodes. So, and I'm very grateful for that. So it's good.
And then Christopher, you sort of knew JNT anyway. Were you one of these people that he sort of came to because you were part of that?
Yeah, I think I'd worked with him. He was an AFM, and he put on a charity show at the Drury Lane Theatre, I think. And just, he was very pushy and go ahead. He was in his 20s, and he put on a show with people like Peter Toole and Richard Bryars, anybody he could sort of get. I can't remember what the circumstances were, but I was in that, so I knew him from that, yeah. And I think I knew his boyfriend as well, Gary Downey, because he worked as an assistant choreographer on a show called Tom Brown's School Days that I was in when I was 19. Along with, I shared a dressing room with Russell Grant, and among the boys of rugby school were Keith Chegwin, and who else was it? Oh yes, Simon Le Bon. Boys of Rugby School, yes, that's quite an interesting show. Yeah. Yeah, it was great. Yeah. And then 4 years later, I got to play Kane on the BBC, and Keith Chegwin playing Abel, so I got to kill him. Yeah, but he came back to life. So there you go. Is that enough?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, can I have my money now?
North America, you'll be in pain. Doctor Who, obviously, very high profile. As I mentioned in the intro, tended to get, and indeed still today, gets some very high profile casting. Christopher, you've done. It's confusing having Chris and Chris. So it's Christopher. God. Okay. God.
Well, the guy who met me at the hotel this morning said Colin Guard. So if you want to call me Colin, that's fine.
Yeah, but that would confuse Sporty, I think. So yeah. Christopher, you've done, if I remember rightly, Return to Treasure Island, which was quite high profile.